Hello, I'm Alex with Job's Nursery, and today I'm going to show you how to get this rose bush ready for spring. And the reason why we do that is to get them cleaned up from winter, reduce down their size just a little bit, so they're a little bit more manageable to maintain throughout the next growing season, because roses do have a potential of getting quite large. This little guy is only about 2.5 feet tall, but hybrid teas can get up to 4 to 5 feet. So we take them down to make it a little easier to manage. We also open them up to promote airflow throughout there. That allows them to dry off during the growing season and prevent harboring of pests and diseases like powdery mildew or aphids. It allows us to also use controls a little easier and get in there where they'll continuously harbor. So the first thing we're going to do is go over the tools. I like a good leather palmed glove, so that way I can just get in here and not worrying about getting stuck. Long sleeve shirt, keep my arms protected as well as my body. Another good trick is use Carhartts for this, but it's warm out and I'm pretty skilled. But for a beginner, Carhartt works great. Then we have hand pruners, these wonderful guys right here, and they're going to do a lot of the work. Then I've got loppers. These are intended for the dead wood that's a little dense and hard to cut, and roses are notorious for that. So I don't hurt my hand while wrenching down on it or damaging the blade of my hand pruners. They're also fun to use. Then I've got these head shears. These head shears I'm going to use to quickly reduce the height and take down the dead tissue, so that way I just get down to the living and then start working more finite for there, because we all have busy schedules. And believe me, this is a lot more fun to use than just picking through them. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, I'm going to reduce down the height. Usually on a rose this size, you can take them down to anywhere from about 2 feet to a foot high. This one being a little shorter, I'm going to take it down to about 15 inches. So, here we go. First off, I'm going to do just a cutting like this and shear it down. Looks like I'm going to go a little bit lower due to the damage. Here we can just selectively just kind of cut it out. And now we're ready for the pruners. What we do is we're kind of just going to thin the plant down, and I need my other pair of gloves. Get to talking about why we do this and all that. Completely space out that, and I was going to grab a thorn and get bit. And roses do enjoy that. But what we're looking for is to get rid of duplicate canes, anything where there's overlapping or crossing or anything like that. You want to go ahead and get rid of those, so that way it's just easier to prune out those and clean up the roses throughout the growing season. Now we also want to kind of make sure that the roses where we cut, the buds are facing outward. That way they're not growing back in and creating those harboring problems that I talked about earlier with the aphids and other diseases. Because sometimes you can get into that condition where you're just spraying and spraying and spraying and spraying, and they just keep coming back, and it's because they're protected. Now this rose bush I'm actually fortunate on. I don't have to worry about the loppers too much. But we do need to kind of clean up and eliminate this down a bit. Usually you want to take them down to about 4 to 8 canes. Where this one, there's a lot of good growth, there's not a lot of overlapping or damage. I'm going to leave it to about a dozen. That, and I'm a little anxious for spring like everyone else, and I want a little bit faster grow back and some flowers hopefully by Mother's Day. There was a lot of winter kill on this side of the plant, so that's going to look a little stark for right now. But it'll come back. Roses are pretty vigorous. And that's pretty well dead to there. So we're just going to keep trimming it. Let's do that. And that. And there we go. This rose bush is cleaned up and ready for spring. I'm also going to take down the mulch that I put around it to protect the bud union and fertilize it. I used a manure-based compost. I missed a dead one there and a dead one there. So there you go, and I hope that's helped you. Thank you, and have a great day, and we'll see you at the nursery. That's Roxy, by the way.